Yes, people. It's the rivals again, Wednesday evening. You must be wondering who's this guy and where's Ash. But Ash isn't about this evening. We're still running the show, running it super late, but we are here for you guys. So make sure you hit them likes. If you haven't already subscribed, share it with your friends. Make sure it gets around. It really helps the channel. Spurs Kings always doing some great stuff. Let's get the guests on early. First on, fellow Newcastle fan, regular of the show, the main man, Philip from Toon Tactics TV. How's it going, bro? You good?
Big up, my man, Mitch. Hey, look, we need to change this place up, man. You know, I mean, we've got a new host. We've got to keep people, you know, moving, keep things changing and everything else. So big up to you, big up to the channel, big up to the audience. I can't remember if I congratulated the audience, Spurs Kings, on the 5,000 subscribers. That's all down to you guys being absolutely magnificent and supporting now, subscribing, sharing, reposting, commenting, all the stuff that you do. It's an absolute pleasure. And hopefully, by the grace of God, this time next year, we'll have 10,000 subscribers here on Spurs Kings TV.
That is it. Keep it going. Keep it growing, people. Every little helps. Make sure it gets into them algorithms there. His camera's off at the minute, but he's in the background. I'm going to bring him on anyway. Long returning. He hasn't been about for a while. Ian, how's it going, bro?
Big up, guys, man. Big up, guys. It's been a long time coming, but why not? We're here today. Give a little perspective after seeing a bit of pre-season and, yeah, give my thoughts.
Decent, my friend, you know your camera's off.
Is it off? It's on.
Yeah, it's on, but it's blank. I had it when I was first coming in. I had it the same thing, but your camera's blank. Maybe come in and out.
Okay, let me
and
see.
Check at the beginning to see if it's like there. It happens sometimes. Just coming in and out.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Now?
No, still like pitch black.
Is it? Oh no. Okay.
No, I mean like come out the stream and come back in.
Come out the stream and then come back in.
Yeah.
Try that. That sometimes works.
That happens, man. That happens.
We've got another guy to add to the show. It's like everybody's arch nemesis. It's that man Olu. Here he
is. That's a crazy introduction. The champ is here. Boom, 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 boom. The champ is here. Boom, 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 boom. The champ is here.
Yes, you know it.
I think Olu's the only Arsenal fan I'll sing that to so far. Like, it's getting too much, man. My man, Mitch has got the thingy bobs. Okay, he's on it.
Yeah. I have to try and keep it a little bit like Ash does it. I have to use the gifts today and to use the memes. Ian is back. The camera's on. We've got you.
Camera's on now, yeah?
Yeah, got you. We've got you. Nice.
Perfect.
Wait. You guys didn't peep the name.
I don't know. I can't read that. That's too small, bro. What's going on?
The champ is here. The champ.
No. The actual name.
Oh yeah, you're.
Go away, 39. I'm so confused.
Olu 39.
Yeah.
I'm confused.
To be fair, I'm glad you've rocked up. The Arsenal fans are here. I'm glad. It's in the title of the show.
I've just realized. Is that Bruno G's number?
Bruno's number, yeah. Made his debut today.
I had some Arsenal fan like literally thanking me today, and I said, because I was saying my barber's an Arsenal fan. He's saying to me, "But what is Bruno all that?" I said to him, "I don't want to hype it up to you, but it's going to change your life. Like I just know it's going to change your life." So Olu, has Bruno changed your life?
Nah, man, don't worry about
that. You'll get there. Don't worry about that. You'll get there.
He's pretending.
Nah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It's all good. It's all good.
So how you feeling? You finally paid up the money. Bruno G is an Arsenal player. It's official. He's worn the shirt. He's played a game. Scored a penalty in the shootout.
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling? How's life?
Life is good, man. One victory in pre-season. Yeah, we're ready for the season, man.
Get that one in before the charity shield, yeah?
Just one victory on pre-season.
I keep telling people, chill, man.
That is crazy work. One victory in pre-season, boy.
Yeah, man. Good cardio session, isn't it?
Who did you play today?
Como.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Right. You had Arteta and what Fabregas were in the same kit as well. It was so funny.
That like a Spider-Man meme.
You know what? I can say
setting up a return for Fabregas. That's how it is.
I don't want to have this, but I think when it comes to drip, I think our manager's like head and shoulders above you, man. Our manager.
Who's he?
Oh, your new guy.
Swagged out.
Dressed still.
He's crazy swagged out, bro.
So, okay. That's your title for the season.
Hey, we got to take some.
Be worried about a manager that turns out dressing well, because we got the same thing with Amarin. And that
no.
I'm looking back at it now.
Moncler in the Wraith.
He had pretty boy privilege. Yeah, pretty boy privilege, man. Yeah, pretty boy privilege.
He got away with murder. He genuinely got away with murder. Honestly, I can't wait. I cannot wait for the game on Saturday. For me, that for me is Carrick's baptism of fire. Win that game, and you got my support for the season. I'm treating that game as that's not pre-season to me. That for me, that's a competitive fixture.
The Montclair Mourinho.
Oh, is that you've got AC? You've got AC this weekend, yeah?
Amarin hasn't won a game in pre-season.
Hey, what's it? Listen, Man United are cursed, you know. Every manager who goes to Man United, it just kills their career. They go from like being like absolutely rated. Think about it, Ten Hag. There's a time when everyone was like around the world was saying how great Ten Hag was. Gets a new job at Leverkusen, loses his job within what 2 months. Three games. Jeez, there you go.
It was like 3 games.
Now Amarim, again, everything did with Sporting, rated around the world. United got rid of him, and now they're saying, "Oh, they want to get rid of him already." I'm just your team's cursed. I'm just saying that right now, man.
I mean, I would say this: were the managers as good as we expected them to be in the first place? That's the question.
I don't know. You guys are the ones who were doing backflips when you guys got them. So you tell me.
For me, I never celebrated Amarin's appointment. I want to make that point very clear. The last time I celebrated an appointment was, and I will say I celebrated Ten Hag, and then after seeing that disaster class, for me, as far as I'm concerned, any manager that comes in now, you got to prove yourself to me. I've celebrated every single one of them. The only person I didn't celebrate was David Moyes. I celebrated Van Gaal. I celebrated Mourinho. I even celebrated Ranić.
Oh, I remember that. Do you remember when they were like, "Oh, he taught the Gegenpress."
You understand? Yeah.
Oh, he taught Klopp the Gegenpress.
It sounds amazing until you see the players on the pitch. It sounds amazing, and then when you see the players on the pitch not following instructions, or I saw Ranić's system working for 26 minutes against Crystal Palace. I swear to you. These men were running. Running for 26 minutes. After that, it went flat because they ain't got the fitness levels to be able to cope with that.
Yeah.
And that's it. And the problem is with any United manager, no manager's going to get that sort of time to be able to like incorporate their ideas as quickly as they want to. Because unfortunately, irrespective, granted, we're not the big institution we used to be, but at the end of the day, the fan base is not going to be tolerant enough to wait for that pain period. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to put up with that for 2 years, 18 months of saying, "Oh, you know, we'll see how it goes." We're not a club like that. Unfortunately, no manager will survive. You know, back to back. Let's say 5th play finishes as an example. And that's no shade, but that's just the reality.
Don't you think that's part of the problem, though, that they pull the trigger a bit too quick? Because at some point you kind of got to have a reset, and the new guy needs time to lay his plan out.
Yeah, I would say yes and no, yeah. But then here's my biggest thing. The issue is that because of the revenue generating club that we are, unfortunately, you can't afford to give a manager that level of time. We're too much of an institution. Granted, we're not Man United anymore, but we're too big of an institution to give a manager that level of time. And for me, I always say you've got to maintain some level of standard within your football club. Because let's be clear here, the fans, I'd say primarily the fans dictate what the level should be. And once the fans get fed up, it's end of the road.
No, fair enough. So, how are you feeling going into your season then? Because,
boy, I mean, I'd say this, right? We haven't replaced Casemiro, and I don't have the data to back up what I'm saying, but if you look at a lot of the goals we scored last season, where we either got like ahead in the game or we got an equalising goal, were coming from corners and Casemiro. That ain't been replaced. And when I look at us in pre-season right now, granted it's pre-season, we look very flat in attack, very flat. And so I look at that and I think, if we're not creating enough chances in open play, where the goals coming from? Santos does a good job at sweeping up, reading danger, doing all of that. We keep the ball a little bit better. there's a little bit more dynamism in midfield. But then, if there's no end product, what's the point? We're just kind of popping the ball around with no purpose.
Yeah, no, fair enough, fair play. But you still got that attacking threat though, and I've seen a few Man United fans online talking about that the Carrick ball looks quite decent at times. I watched a little bit of the Leeds game today, and it looked like they were carving you open a little bit down one side of the pitch.
They were dicing us open. What I would say is that only really came in the second half when we made changes. In the first half, pretty controlled. We had a few more seniors in there. For me, my biggest concern right now defensively is Euro. Like for me, I don't see it. I don't see it anymore. I was excited by the signing when he first came to the club, but I look at him now. I think it was, I don't know if you guys remember, it was when we played Leicester 2 years ago, and Sulemana put him in the baptism of fire. Absolutely cooked him. I've never seen a defender struggle as much as I did in that game.
Was it Leicester or was it Southampton?
Sorry, Southampton. Yeah. Sulemana absolutely smoked him that day. And after seeing that, I realized that Euro has a problem. He has a massive, massive problem. And then thereafter, I just think to myself, he hasn't improved since. And I look at Heaven's performances, chalk and cheese. Heaven, you can see that this guy is an actual ball player. He's very, very aggressive. Positionally, he's not quite there yet. But that will come with time. But you can see, for me, he's far better of a player than Euro is. Euro is too mistake prone, gets caught out very easily, positionally not aware. He's not as quick as I thought he was. He's not that very good on the ball. He's a bit dangly. Yeah, just not for me, man.
All right, Ian,
I'm nervous stepping into the season. I'll be honest with you. I'm nervous.
Ian,
yes.
Like, what it tells me right now is that basically, like, the Arsenal players who you guys get seem to be working. So can I interest you in the one Noni Madueke as well?
Wait, hold on.
Aiden Heaven collection. Yeah.
Hold on, you're not a fan of Madueke?
I don't know. He's black excellence, and I think he'll be black excellence for you guys. So come on.
No, hold on. I'm asking you the question without the trolling. You don't rate Madueke?
What? Again, this is black excellence we're talking about here. Like, you know.
You're not a fan?
Hey.
I'm surprised.
Ian,
that's a Premier League winner right there, you know.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I just think that, listen, like, if Mbeumo needs competition on the right hand side, and the ammo is not that.
Hello, your club's not good at selling. We know this.
Hanif, I'm trying to do some selling right now.
Your club's not good at selling.
It's always going to be one.
There must be something in the water in North London, innit? They don't sell very well.
Like,
you see these players leaving, and the numbers just don't look right.
I mean, for me right now, Paul Pogba is going to be a free agent in September. He's going to be a free agent. Monaco's cutting his contract. We're light in the field.
Ian, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this.
One more time.
Bro,
Paul Pogba is available in September.
You sound like one of those guys in their 40s that wants to rekindle his love for the girl he met when he was 18 and that.
Bro, Paul Pogba is available. We're light in midfield.
Leave it. You're going to be even lighter. It's going to be worse.
Yeah,
it's going to be worse.
Because for me right now, I want Mason Mount gone. That for me has to be the number one priority sale.
I get that, but Paul Pogba's not the answer, man. When Monaco are turning around saying, "Let's have a discussion how we mutually terminate your contract."
Yeah. I'm bantering. I'd love to see him back at the club, but I know that his career at the moment is not where it used to be, innit?
Yeah, no, that would be a different one. Big up Hanef, by the way.
Good to see you, bro.
All right, boys.
Free enough.
Sorry, I'm late. Sorry, I'm late.
Still locked up. He's on visitation.
He had to wait for the lights to go out to get the camera going, didn't it? Couldn't get the phone out.
Always got to get the phone out, man. I can't find my laptop.
I'm sitting here trying to, man.
So as a question to the Newcastle boys, right? How are you guys generally feeling at the moment with the mass exodus this summer?
Mitch, we've got to have some order in the show.
Yeah, I know. We're there already.
Topics like this. Let's gotta have some order in the show, bro. Let's
just bouncing around way too much. Who's gonna get into that? Ian's like, I've got to leave soon. I want to hear this now. I want to hear it live on the show.
No, before we go to that, so Ian, yeah, express your views on Tielemans, because it was interesting what you said in the group.
This is what I would say about Tielemans. I was happy with the signing, but what I would say is that Tielemans for me is 4 years too late. I feel like we should have got him when he was available, when he left Leicester for free. Like that was my ideal signing at that time, because if you look at United, right, one of the biggest issues we've had for a long time is being able to kind of progress from the first phase of play to the second phase, because we don't have a creative player from deep. It's a massive problem that we've had for a long time. Scott McTominay couldn't do it. Fred couldn't do it. Casemiro couldn't do it. So it's for me, how do you solve the issue? We need somebody who can pass from deep. I've been screaming about Adam Wharton all summer. That should have been our priority look to sign, but ultimately that hasn't happened. For me, Tielemans, I mean, he doesn't have the legs to get around the pitch, but we knew this. So does that mean that you then partner him with somebody else?
Isn't the problem that you've got too many players who are similar
profile? Agreed. Yeah. We lack a lot of athleticism in the midfield.
Technically very good, but don't get around the pitch quick enough.
Agreed.
But remember, listen, Barcelona with Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta were not the most athletic team, right?
Like, Olu, think about what you're saying. Just think about what you're. Oh my God, Olu, you've won one Premier League and you're coming out with some wild stuff. Behave yourself.
You've got to listen to
behave. No. Don't even bring. Listen, Busquets walks into your team and he makes Declan Rice look like a piece of cake. So
that's not the point I'm trying. That's not the point.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That is the worst comparison in the world.
That's not the point. I'm saying that teams can play without athleticism, right? You have to have a system that actually works. Because the point.
Not in the Premier League. Not in the Premier League.
With any look, Arsenal didn't play through the middle. But we start a system that works, right? In the end, like teams have to build a system that masters the deficiencies of their players and builds the strength of their players, right? So what I'm saying is that it's not impossible to actually have a team that's not athletic in midfield to work. However, to your point, it's harder to do so in the Premier League because of the pace of the Premier League. So I don't know why you jumped ahead, because I
always have to jump ahead because you say some silly stuff.
I never say silly stuff.
Trying to save you from yourself.
Silly. You know when you start referring to like amazing players, and then you look at the current United team, right? And I'll be honest, I watched a couple of. I've got my family's majority United, and I watched a couple of games at the Cardiff. I wasn't impressed really. I just thought, yeah, it's got results, but the football wasn't great. I think they're going to struggle this season because they've not bought anyone of substance, in my opinion. I agree with the young man at the who was talking about Tielemans. I think he's a good player, really good player. But if you're saying he's not got legs, and you have to go by, I thought United were going to go by a top class midfielder. I've always felt they needed that. Once they get a top class midfielder, then you can look at, because the strike force is okay. Defensive wise, that young lad, he's not all that, but he needs time. But they'll get through the season, possibly might get top 4. But with the amount of games and with the amount with the current squad, I think United finishing top 4 is going to be a real challenge for them this season.
It even hurts my heart to hear that United is challenging for top 4. What is that? Like,
what do you mean?
You know what it is? I've always tried to maintain a standard as a United fan that we should always be challenging for the league, despite our how much we've regressed. Despite how much we've regressed, we should always be aiming to win the league title. So when the idea of just saying that, United needs to just kind of finish in the top 4, that depresses me.
No, but you have to understand, football's changed now, honey. It's not what it used to be. Arsenal are responsible for this type of nonsense, to be fair, because Wenger was the first one that started it, and then the rest of us now have to follow, because United are not that team anymore, unfortunately, because before United would just go look at the Premier League, who are the best players, Kane would have been at United under Sir Alex, possibly. United used to go by the best Premier League stars. They don't do that anymore. Arsenal did it.
The time's moved on though. Like,
no, I understand that, but the thing is, United still had the money and the pull, but they just went about it the wrong way. So when you go about it the wrong way, now it's just about financials, really. I think winning the Premier League is going to just boil down to Arsenal, City, and maybe there'll be one more, but the rest of us, and there'll be some clubs, possibly my team, maybe if they've got anything about them, might be that 4th place and then Europa League. We just have to accept that that's the reality of it, really. Because if you're not going to be spending, I don't understand why haven't United spent. Are they saving the money for the stadium? What's going on? I don't get it.
But if you with United, this is a habit that we've fallen into year after year. So whenever we make Champions League, we spend less. Whenever we don't, we spend more. It's a reoccurring theme that's been happening.
No, but it's a new owner now, isn't it? It's the new guy.
He's doing the same thing.
Ineos they're probably bigger penny pitchers than the Glazers. At the very minimum, Ed Woodward would have been reaching into the bank and pulling out Tchouaméni by now. Like this is the sort of man that Ed Woodward was. We would have overpaid for Tchouaméni. He would have come to the club, and then we would have been excited about the signing. And if it didn't work out, they'd be scapegoating him. It's the same reoccurring theme year after year. When we don't make the Champions League, for whatever reason, we spend less money, even though the level of competition is higher. So we clearly need to spend more money.
What do you think about?
It just makes no sense at all with United strategy at all, because all they're doing, because they're doing the opposite. They're not. They're buying.
Going backwards.
They bought a couple of young. They're going back, but they're buying young talent, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're buying a lot of young talent, like Newcastle Lewis Hall. They'll have to overpay for him.
He's a good player.
No, I'm just saying they're linked with him. I'm saying if they put a bid in, you're gonna want 70 to 100 million, aren't you? Let's be honest. Everyone ransacks the top clubs, don't they?
For left back.
So it's
what I was going to
say
just
weird.
Though, can you guys hear me?
It's not right.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, because you did try to buy a couple of big or athletic midfielders in Matheus Fernandes, who I think would have been magnificent, and Elliot Anderson, but and you obviously were in for Tonali, you're in for Bruno at some point as well, but at the wages and everything else, you backed out. Like, what do you think about that, Ian? And you're talking a little bit about the cycle of overpaying for players, which costs you. It's still it's costing you still a little bit this year as well. I know that you do have some, like I was looking at your finances, you have some SCR headroom because of your revenue, but you still got like your expenses are expensive. Now they're proper high because of like, especially like your Rashford. Rashford takes up 2 players of his wages alone. I'm not just saying trying to scapegoat Rashford. I'm just saying that you got high wages. So do you think, like, say in the case of Matheus Fernandes and Elliot Anderson, who are now like getting paid 270 at Tottenham. Well, Tonali's getting paid at 270 at Tottenham. Elliot Anderson's getting 250 something plus at City. Fernandes is getting something 250 at Tottenham. Do you think Man United should have pushed the button and at least at the minimum match those offers, or do you think Man United were right not to do that in order to not repeat the mistakes of the past?
I would say this. I think that we probably made the right decision in those two particular players, because I think Fernandes would have been very good for us, but I don't think he would have been transformative. Elliot Anderson, especially, I've always said this about Anderson. When you put Anderson into a team that plays on the front foot, I'm not sure he can be as good as he was at Forest, and I feel like I was kind of proved right a little bit from his appearances at the World Cup. His performances at World Cup for me didn't move me at all.
I get that. I get what you're saying. If you compare him to the Forest ones, he seems a lot more progressive for Forest.
Yeah.
Whereas for England, it looked like he had the handbrake on a little bit at times. That was my criticism over at the World Cup.
Because for me, I want a midfielder that comes in and keeps us on the front foot. So for instance, kind of like Rodri when you see him at playing for Spain or City. He constantly keeps the team on the front foot. Neither one of those players that we've just mentioned can do that for Man United. It's just not going to happen. For me, I've always said I want a player that can control from deep and dictate the tempo of the game. And for me, there's not many midfielders in the world that can perform that kind of function.
Mateus Fernandes.
You think so?
Those
I
are
don't
the-
think.
Yeah. That's exactly the player. Yeah.
I think he
He
is
plays-
Bruno.
He's like he's the mini version of Bruno Guimarães.
He is, yeah.
Do we know if Michael Carrick had a list of players that he would have wanted, and has anything been put out there that Carrick wanted so and so? Like he's put it to the board. Look, I want these players in these positions. I'll give you 3 in every position or whatever. Because it's making Carrick look really, really bad here, because you've given him the job, but he's not allowed to flex his muscle in the transfer window. So naturally, United are going to struggle this season because they've not been able to spend big on that one position that they really need. I think Michael Carrick's in a lot of trouble this season, because if United have a bad run, we know the United fans are going to start acting like the Arsenal fans and start demanding the manager's head. And it's a bit weird. Obviously, anything can happen at the moment. We changed the managers. Yeah, that's our owner was a winner though. Our owner was a winner though. What can I say?
Ollie, your
volume's gone mad low.
Your volume's a bit distorted. You might need to turn your mic. I don't know if it's your mic. Speak again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better. Better now. Yeah.
One sec. Hanif is a fool. There we go. Is that better? No, what I was going to say was this: like, look, United have also, they've got to learn from the sins of the past, right? Like, in the past, it was always buy a player for a manager, and that's how you end up with a mishmash full of teams, right? Mishmash team basically that's full of players for different managers, and like, as much as you say, oh, you back Carrick for what he wants, and don't get me wrong, Carrick's done a fantastic job, right? It almost feels like they'll be falling back into the trap if they don't feel Carrick is the long-term manager for United. Now, if the
He is the long-term manager for United. They gave him a contract, didn't they? Yeah, it makes if you hire the guy, if you're going to hire the guy and he says to you, I want, just say for example, he wants that Tchouameni from Real Madrid, right? You should do everything in your power to get him. If you can't get him, there must be somebody else on the list, because you surely can't expect the same from Man United playing twice a week now. Surely that's just, I know they're going to compete, but it's highly likely United will finish outside the top 4 if they don't spend in that one area that they need to improve on.
But it's not the only area we need to improve.
No, but okay. Sorry. What is the most important area? If it's not the midfield,
it's the midfield.
So okay, let's just concentrate on that. If Michael Carrick would have gone to Radcliffe and said, "Listen, I need to improve in this area, and this is my list." Now, surely they should be doing everything in their power. Now, if they're just looking at salary, saying, "Listen, we can pay the wage, we can pay the transfer fee, but not paying the wages," then United, in my opinion, they need to offload either Rashford, and then they need to make it up, don't they?
How do we know that hasn't happened though? Because that's the only area they've signed players in. They've signed 2 midfielders, and that's it. They haven't signed anything else. They signed Andre Santos from you guys, and they signed Tielemans from Villa. They haven't signed anything.
Right.
And they promoted that under 21 boy as well by announcing his signing. I think it's Orozco or something like that.
Then he's good. Then yeah. If you look at it, if that's true, then yeah, then he's good. Then isn't he?
I just don't believe that they've given him. They look at him as a long-term manager.
I don't think so. I agree.
Yeah,
they give him
I think his performances at the back end of the season kind of backed him into a corner.
This is it.
But they didn't have to give him a contract. Like, if they don't look at him as a long-term manager, why give him the contract? There wasn't
because then you look in the market. Who's available?
There's tons.
Quite a few. There were managers available though, and if there's no managers available, you approach their agents from other clubs, don't you? Did they do the same with Ruben Amorim? Did they take him from?
Yeah, they
Sporting
took
or
him
whatever?
from Sporting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look at
so
how that
it can be done.
last time.
No, I know that. Obviously, it ended the way it did, but that's what you do. They could have approached Cesca, Como. They could have approached Alonso. There's loads of good managers out there. I'm just saying. I think he did a good job, and the fans and the fans love him, and obviously that was enough, wasn't it?
But that's what I'm saying about backing them into a corner, because they've had a couple that have failed now. So if they then go, right, Carrick's done well, we're going to go for another guy, and it fails again, that makes him look even worse, because they've got rid of a club legend that was doing well at the time, but could have easily had a contract and then brought in someone else who's failed again. So I think that's why he's backed them into the corner, because they're kind of in a position where they either keep him and it goes wrong for them to sack him, so they give him a short contract, or they get rid of him and bring someone else who then fucks it up, and then they're in even worse position.
I
Exactly.
think if you look at United, and if they finish top 6, I think that would be decent return for Michael Carrick. Because without spending big, if you think about it, without spending big, without getting that top midfielder, I think top 6 is fair for him to keep his job. I'm not saying obviously that's what you're going to finish, but for him to keep his job, I think if I said to you, listen, you're going to get top 6 with what you've spent so far, do you think that's fair? And over the season that you're going to have, you probably look at it and think, you know what?
We ultimately need somebody who can stand in and fill Bruno's shoes.
Yeah,
that's a massive issue for us, because he cannot be our chief creator at all times. It just doesn't work. So it's not sustainable.
You probably address that next season, won't you? It won't be this season.
We should be addressing it now, because what's the succession plan? Bruno's going to be what? Next season he'll be 32.
I don't think owners care about succession plans. No one looks that far ahead.
You have to. You have to. That's the problem.
Nah, man. There's only certain clubs that look at that do that really well, and I'll be honest with you.
We're doing it at a minute.
So there's not reset and go is the succession plan for most of the clubs here.
No. The best teams do it. Like if you look at Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, they've always had a succession plan where they've brought in young players along the time as the older players, right? And then moved the older players on. So if you want to be a successful team, you have to follow that model. Even old school Chelsea, when you guys were buying all these players, you bring in an Oscar, who along the same time as having a Michael Ballack, right? Like those players all come in around the same time and follow each other. You don't just rinse someone out and go, right, we need to go into the market and find someone who can take the load off.
I think the problem with that model is now is you've got these younger players coming in on high wages, and then if their wages are pretty similar to their experience, so maybe they're 10 to 20 less. And I think that model only works in certain leagues. I don't think it can work now where you be in the Premier League and think, you know what, we've got this guy coming through, but he's going to be on massive wages on a big contract. I just don't think it. I think certain teams can do it well because they've got the money. Maybe United can do it as well, but I think there are other teams that just can't.
United should do it, because also the problem is that there's no guarantees that Bruno doesn't fall off a cliff, and we saw with Salah.
Salah didn't fall off a cliff, Olu. Let's just be sensible about this. If Liverpool sold one of their main creators, the guy was playing more. I don't know if he was playing behind Salah or not, but he was creating a lot of chances for Salah, and the link-up play was brilliant because they've been together for a long time. Obviously, you have to watch the games when you say that. When you say Mohamed Salah fell off a cliff,
I watched it.
You didn't watch it. No, he was. But the goals were going to go down once Trent left.
But the goals went down, but they didn't just go down by a bit. They went down substantially.
Yeah, because he had an amazing season, but
exactly.
He didn't seem as
team as a whole. I
So
think the team as a whole went down as well. So I think that has. I think it's more. I think it's multifaceted. No, I agree with what you say. I can see it from your point of view.
The thing is that it's just that from the highs that he was on to how he left is a massive drop. Like there's no two ways about it. It wasn't a gradual sort of like, let's say he scored 40 something odd goals. Let's say he dropped down to about 30, then dropped to 25. You could go, okay, steady progression. He went from like 20 something odd goals to like, I think it was like less than 10. Like it can happen where players just like one year you're the best player on the pitch, and then next year you try to run and you realize I ain't got him in no more. This is where like being so Bruno like centric is a danger for United. Like if everything has to flow through Bruno, and this is maybe listen. I'm critical of like someone like Tielemans. I've never been his biggest fan, right? But maybe having someone like Tielemans actually helps take away some of that like creative burden away from Bruno because like yeah, last season everything just went through him. And once teams start to learn to game plan for that, and don't get me wrong, Bruno's the kind of player where he tries so much that it's hard to like specifically find a game plan to stop him because he will just keep trying over and over again, right? He's almost the he's almost the most unpredictable player in the Premier League. But after a while, they will figure out how to slow him down. And at that point, if you haven't got anyone else to help, or you haven't got like a Arsenal's quote unquote set piece, it becomes more difficult to then break down these teams.
You just have to coach the team better, though, don't you? That I don't think it always comes down to players. I think if you look at if you look at certain teams, they just got to be coached better. You've got to find different opportunities, don't you? So I think you could coach the team a lot better than just looking at it from a player's point of view. Because Arsenal, we know, got a good team. They'd always get into the final third of their opponents, but a lot of their goals came to set pieces. It doesn't matter how you score, as long as you score. So, but Carrick needs to work on that. I think that's more of a coaching thing, and I think with Bruno, I think United have got to make a decision as to. I just don't understand how top clubs, they just don't buy one good player in each area and then try and get an up and coming player. But I think because of where they finished that particular season, and I think it's going to happen with United. I think United are not going to finish in the top four purely because they've not bought that top player. Because if they didn't bought that top player, I think it gives you that extra confidence and then you think, you know what, we're ready. We are ready.
Also as well, I think United rode a wave last year.
Yeah.
Where it was just like, just keep it going,
Agreed.
keep the momentum going. Like, it's not about tactics, it's about it was the feel good factor was back. And now it's a reset. Now it's back to square one in terms of like new season.
Yeah, possibly like Ollie again. It's like it could potentially be Ollie part 2, can't it?
I don't want to be unfair and say Ollie part 2, but I just think that there was a momentum. I'll wait to see.
No, with Ollie, did Ollie finish second in the league? I thought he finished second
in the league. Yeah,
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So he finished second, and then the season after it didn't go well, and I think that's why I give Carrick a little bit of flexibility and just say, look, with the current team and with the amount of games they're going to play in the Champions League, I'll be honest, I expect United to fall away a little bit. I think they're going to be obviously challenging for the Champions League, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just miss out. If I'm saying top 4, it could be top 5. Then it's different. It's a different conversation. Then because then I think United are probably gonna get it. But
we've wasted too much time on this like Manchester Red team, man. Like, what's going on here, man? It's like almost
Hey, Ian hasn't been about for a while. We thought we'd get his views on Man United.
It's true because I did tell these guys by 11:30 I'm gonna have to leave anyway.
Yeah, the champ is here. And we're talking about Manchester United. What's going on, man?
Hey, it's not all about you, Olu. It's not all about you.
Guys, it's been good to see you. I'll definitely be on another show.
Please,
Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
100%, man.
Good
Good to have you
to
back.
Anyway.
And Ian, I will continue to troll no matter what.
Bring back the robe. Bring back the robe. Bring back the robe.
You know what? When the heat starts dropping, the robe will come back.
It's good.
I want it to be as shiny as Ric Flair's.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like one of those, to be fair. Guys, have a great show, yeah?
Yeah.
God bless.
Take
care.
Nice one, Ian. Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you.
Olu, come on, man. Let's talk about your team, man. Let's talk about how they're not going to win the league, man.
Come on, let's talk about how you just have penalty shootouts after every single game for no reason in pre-season. Let's talk about that.
Hey, we're scarred, man. We're scarred.
That's some trauma for Gabriel. That's some trauma for Gabriel. Like.
Hey, we're trying to extinguish the trauma, man. We're trying to
Get rid of that PTSD early, yeah?
Exactly, man. We just got to do it over and over again until.
The funny thing is, Gabriel hasn't even played any of the games.
Olu, explain something to me. Explain something to me. That little bust up you had with Stefan earlier this week. I was just like, what's going on? What's happened here?
Oh, no. It's just listen, as much as I like to troll as a joke, I'm a equal opportunities when it comes to actually analyzing things. And so I don't like one standard use for one player not to be used for another player, right? So if I think someone's not good, and my team does the exact same thing, I would say Arsenal will doing the exact same team. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, same thing. So that was my issue. Is like, when we say, "Oh, Gyökeres is good," or Martinelli is a very good player. Well, I'm like, well, if you said Martinelli is a very good player, then all the sort of smoke that we've been throwing at, or Stefan has been throwing at some of the other rival team players, it doesn't correlate. Because when I watch Martinelli play, I don't go, "That's a very good player." I go, "Oh, that's a guy who got lucky because at one time he broke into the Arsenal team when we were all the way down low in terms of optimism." Now, I just don't. Maybe there's still a player in there. I just don't see it anymore. I said that was what it was. Anyways. It's just look. Actually, I don't like hypocrisy. That's my thing. One thing I hate in life is hypocrisy. And
Okay.
Do you think 35 million's in a good price for Sonny Martinelli? No.
there is no player in Arsenal who should be below at least 60 million.
What?
Yeah.
No player in Arsenal is worth less than £60 million, is what you're saying right now.
It should be that way.
Why?
Because a couple of things. One, they've got Premier League titles, right? So that should automatically just boost your. Oh, okay, no, I take it back. Kepa is the only one that's not worth 60 million.
And Ødegaard, but he's not there anymore. Is he?
My guy Ødegaard, man, we did him dirty, man. We sold him for too cheap. Okay. So outliers, Kepa and maybe Jesus.
First teamers, basically. First
okay.
teamers.
Starting 11, yeah. I'll give you starting 11, but
even
outside of that,
even Trossard we saw on the cheap. The reason why I'm saying though is this, okay? If you look at especially the ones who are young, the commercial values, the age, the fact they've won the Premier League, the fact they've played in the Champions League, like, and we've seen players who have moved to other teams this season where they've not got any of that criteria. But like, look at Matias Fernandes, played for a relegated team, right? And I know it wasn't just him, like who played that game, right? It was obviously the whole West Ham team played, but he went for 85 mil, and he doesn't have anywhere near those things I've just mentioned.
Yeah.
Like someone like a Martinelli or even an MLS who we're talking about this season, right? And when you look at even someone like MLS's commercial value in terms of his potential for like deals and selling shirts and so on and so forth, I'll say it's got
60
higher
mil,
one
60
than
mil.
Fernandes.
Yeah.
So like when I say 60 mil minimum, it's just because I'm just saying, like, if the market is the market as it is now, plus all the achievements they've now got, like, it doesn't make sense.
35 million for Martinelli is low. The boy is 24, 25 years old. I don't know what his GA was this season, but he's done about.
It was terrific.
Well, but overall, how many minutes did he play? Between 2,000 to 3,000, right? About roughly that.
Yeah, he played quite a lot. He only got
No,
one
but
goal, like 4 assists.
But because of the modern day game and the way he doesn't give you much attacking, but he gives you a lot in terms of defensive ability, doesn't he?
I think centrally he'll be better. I love Newcastle buying.
I don't think Arsenal will play him centrally though.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the build for it. He doesn't have the strength for it. He's still a bit of a pushover, to be fair.
Do you reckon?
We've got another guy who's got the build for it, but he's also a pushover as well. So.
So Martinelli last season, 2,300 minutes, 11 goals, 7 assists.
What? And you guys, that's good. Wait.
No,
you made it like
Premier League.
Is that that's all comps. That's all comps. That's all comps.
That's all comps. What's wrong with that?
He went on a generational run in the Champions League at the start of the Champions League because he scored like 5 games in a row.
He got 6 goals and 2 assists in the Champions League.
Yeah.
What you just want Premier League?
Is that all comps? 2,300 minutes and all comps.
All comps last season, yeah.
And he got that, and he got what, 18 GA?
18 GA, yeah. And then in the Prem, he played just over 1,000 minutes, got 1 goal, 4 assists.
Yeah, 1,000 minutes is fine. 1,000 minutes is fine. What's the beef?
It's 10 games. 5 GA 10 games.
When he runs the ball off the pitch for no damn reason.
Olu, you just don't like him. Olu, you don't like him. So who do you want to play there? Do you want to play Skelly there? Who do you want there?
We got baby Kvara, Skelly, man. I keep telling you, I'm joking.
So Delap's gonna go for more money than Martinelli. Is that fair?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it doesn't make sense to me, right? But what I'm saying is that the Martinelli experience or experiment is coming to
the Martinelli experience.
Yeah,
Surviving Martinelli. Surviving Martinelli.
But I think, listen, okay, if he stays at Arsenal, this season is going to be the most crucial for him because I think there's nowhere else to hide. We've won the Premier League now.
You
The
said that last
sentiment is
season,
gone.
by the way.
I
You said that
know,
last season,
exactly.
by the way.
I know, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
To be fair, minutes
Yeah.
to GA, he did much better last season than he did the season before.
But I think my problem
You guys
as well
are
is
harsh, man.
no, my problem is this as well, though. It's like when everyone talks about Martinelli, they go, "Oh, the season when he scored 15 goals," and I'm like, "But that was 4 seasons ago." And if you have to go back to 4 seasons every single time, you need to make a point.
Guess where he played though in those seasons?
He still played left wing,
He
but
played centrally. If you look at his heat map,
he was moving centrally. He was moving more centrally than out
yeah.
wide now. But I'm saying though, like if we have to go to make a point, we always have to go back to 4 seasons ago, and that's your argument every single time to say, "Oh, there's still a player there." Then we end up being like Theo Walcott when he was 32. Everyone saying, "Oh, he's still a hunk."
No, but Olu, are you saying
Exactly.
he's not? Are you just looking at it from just an attacking point of view? Just saying he doesn't give us enough. Is that the answer? Is that your argument?
Yes.
Okay. So say you get a player that gives you those goals and assists, but isn't as good as tracking back and defending. Kind of go against it, and I think that's why he probably gets into the team. And I think that's why Arteta loves him.
I know. I hear that. Listen, like with Arsenal, everything's about balance, right? I think Arsenal's team is very much built around less individual skill, more about a system and getting players in the right position. So
Yeah,
you're right. Like from a defensive standpoint,
and I think he's a good player, but I just think if you can, I just it depends if he gets that. I think he's going to be like the lad that just left. I think he's still going to be there. I think he's still going to provide you with what he provides you. But I don't think he'll get you the goals. I think the goals are going to probably come from obviously Saka and
just right now,
the striker.
Yeah,
it's just
and the
Saka
striker.
right now
So
at this point.
yeah.
But don't you think for something like 35 mil, he's like worth keeping? Because looking at his stats from last season, it looks like he's potentially used as a bit of a closer. So when you're a goal up and maybe your back's against the wall a little bit, you can bring him on and he does the tracking, but also gives you an outlet on the break. If he's just that impact kind of player, is it not just worth having him there rather than selling him for 35 mil?
It's definitely worth because obviously we brought in Solis, right? And we don't. He's an unknown entity right now. As much as I always make the joke about he's baby Kvara, like we don't know what he's gonna be. We don't know how good he's gonna be. We don't know if he's gonna go through like a lean spell. So yeah, having someone with that experience of playing in the Premier League, like I said, he's a champion as well. That makes sense. I think the problem though is just that. Well, one, you need to find someone who's good enough to replace him, and I don't think there's many that comes on top of your head that you can go, oh, for definite, they can afford to get them, they're available, and will be a massive. Well, yeah, no, I'll say it will be a massive upgrade on Martinelli. And still, so everything Hanif said, like in terms of defensively, we'll also still have that defensive contribution.
Can Skelly play there? That
No,
Miles Skelly lad? No.
I don't think Skelly's not someone who you could just put on the wings. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
at 35 mil, I think that's taking the piss. And I think like if Arsenal's selling for that, then all the things about Arsenal, when people say, "Oh, Arsenal can't sell," I would 100% say, "Oh, you know what? That's definitely for real." Because my argument has always been when Arsenal sold players, apart from let's say Fabregas, who wanted to leave and Van Persie, like most of the times when we sold players, they've been past the use by date, so you're never going to get a lot of money for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why. So I think it skews how people view Arsenal selling players. However, if you sell Martinelli for a cheap cut down price, at that point, that's incompetence because teams are willing to spend stupid amounts of money, and you could take that money, bank it, and use it for your financials if you want to, or you can say, you know what, that gives you more financial freedom to go buy someone at a top level. So, yeah,
Have you man even got to worry about that though? Because that just might be the reason that it's like we need him off for a registration perspective, or we need to use his wages towards someone else. So we'll take a cut price deal because we're not really that tight to the financial restrictions.
Yeah, so from a registration standpoint, no, because he's classified as a homegrown player because he came at 16 or whatever it is. Revenue wise, I don't like Arsenal have not we've been very good in terms of like it's not PSR. What is it called now?
SCR.
SCR. Yeah. Like our wages to revenue ratio is still good. Our revenues went up because of the Champions League run. Like so, I don't know if there is a financial issue that's causing us not to sell him, or I mean, Arsenal wanted to buy Vinny, so
It might be so
clearly
good for you that because with SCR, the big thing, it's not necessarily the transfer fee within itself, it's more the wages that covers that. So if you're in such a good financial situation, which you really, really are, then maybe the transfer fee isn't as big a deal. It's the wages. If you do get the wages off, you're in a better you're in such a good space where you can. Is that person that's so fit that they can afford to eat like a fatty cake every once in a while, and it's not going to do nothing to them, if that makes sense. So
yeah. But
that
also,
just might be it.
Also, it might also. I mean, again, we haven't saw that many players recently, but it also comes down to structuring the deal and how when you get paid, because that's when it gets like put onto the books from an accounting standpoint. So like, if you spread it over like 6 years, 7 years, and you're getting, let's say you saw a player for 60 mil over 6 years, you do 10 mil per year in accounting.
Yeah.
If you sold a player for 30 mil, but you do it over 2 years, you get 15 a year. So actually, it gives you more financial freedom in a short-term period, right? It's not always just the number itself; it's actually the structure of the deals.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying though is just that this is it's a free market right now, and if we sell it for 35 mil, we will be acting like we're going through a recession. This is like the freest market in football.
And there could be long-term damage in the future, because what if you do really need to sell a player one day for some big money and people say, oh, hold on, you've been selling guys for 20, 30 millions. What's the problem?
Yeah.
What's the problem?
We came here for a bargain, bro. What are you talking about?
Exactly. Like imagine your negotiation standpoint where everyone just comes and goes, now we're starting with 10 mil. Like they're going to Chelsea and they're going, we're starting with 70 mil, 80 mil. They're coming to Arsenal and going, we're starting with 10 mil, because the perception is that we'll always take the cheaper deal. So yeah, as much as I think Martinelli needs to be upgraded on, do not sell him for anything under 60 mil. That would cry my gears.
Yeah, fair enough.
Boys, I have to go. I've got work tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Pleasure as always, bro.
All right, look after yourselves.
Nice one.
Bless, man. He's back in the kitchen. He's on kitchen duty tomorrow.
He's got the breakfast run, innit? He's got to make sure he's there. Oh, this show, man. Jesus.
We can never be serious.
Never. Not for too long. We've got too many people that just just can't do that. Someone always has to make a joke somewhere along the way. That's what makes it so good.
Can't do it.
So how are you feeling about your season, Olu? Because like a lot of your stars looked a bit tired during the World Cup, breaking down, injuries here, there. Yes, you've brought in Bruno. How do you feel that shapes you up to have another guy at the Premier League and the Champions League?
So last year I said this is the best team Arsenal have ever had. Oh, sorry, the best team Arteta's ever had, and this is the best opportunity he has to win, because for me that team was stacked for him. Maybe not the best players in the world, but stacked for him. This team is now better with Bruno in it, right? Obviously, losing Trossard is a big sort of like, we'll see what that looks like in terms of his clutchness, right?
Clutch, yeah.
But like going to the season, like even with the injuries or the tiredness, there should be enough players in this team that should keep the ball rolling to be able to go back and defend the title and go back to back. That is my hope. My worry is complacency more than anything else. Like people talk about like figuring out Arsenal. I think it's hard. I don't think Arsenal are one of those teams that you can just figure out easily. People say, "Oh, you can just chuck a low block." I think it's a lot more complex than that. And when teams play Arsenal, you always hear them go, "Oh, they're one of the hardest teams to play against," even though it looks like they're doing nothing. I think the complacency, and I've seen it in preseason where like players are just not awake. I think that might cost us more than anything else. So I'm hoping someone like Bruno is that sort of, all right, you've won, but here's some fire to sort of like keep you guys, like, if you slack, he's gonna hold you accountable. I'm guessing that's what he was to Newcastle, because obviously he was you guys' captain, right? In the end, right? I'm hoping like his character with the Declan Rice's characters help propel Arsenal, because I think from a quality standpoint, we still stack up with like anyone in the Premier League. It's going to come down to complacency.
Fair enough. What are your thoughts on it, Toon? Because like you look at every other sort of team that you'd normally put in the mix, there's unknowns, and there's a lot of there's new managers, there's a lot of new players, whereas Arsenal are still pretty settled. They've just added a little bit more into the mix. So it's a tough one to gauge.
When I did my kind of analysis of Arsenal after this season, I think Arsenal's super weapon, and Olu's already alluded to it, is their rotation, is their squad depth. That's their super weapon. Every team has their super weapon. Aston Villa had mainly Morgan Rogers doing 4,500 minutes throughout the season. Man United had Bruno Fernandes. If it wasn't for him, it would have been a very difficult season, right? But those things are, how do I say it? These are moments players which you all need, and they can carry you through the season so long as they stay fit. But Arsenal's super weapon being their rotation is what allowed them to maintain and sustain, grind out those results when needed to be ground out, and to push them to literally, to at least 2 cup finals, European Champions League, and then I can't remember if it was FA Cup or League Cup. I think it was FA Cup.
No, League Cup final, and then
League Cup final, right? And then obviously winning. That is absolutely superb. In the midst of all this silly, but it's too much banter about Arsenal. People have forgotten what an incredible team this is, and it has definitely happened to Liverpool. It's literally happening to every team that's winning the Premier League. Oh, they've only won because every other team was, not good, or they only won because of this particular type of football, and people forget to actually sit down and look at what made them win or what made that team so good. When you look at that team from defense, from midfield, from attack, they don't all have, they don't necessarily have to have particular standout players. Obviously, you've got your Sakas and things like that in different areas, but it almost didn't matter. But that rotational level that they had, that system that Arteta already built, it made them a very, very good and very, very successful team. And no team in the Premier League has that. Liverpool are going through a lot of transition at the moment, for instance, right? If you're looking at their closest rivals, even having changed it at the top, they're in no shape. Man City as well, even though they've got a relatively good depth, where they lack is obviously they're going to have a lot of stars that are moving out, and it's going to be difficult for them. I mentioned that because, again, it goes back to what Arsenal have, and kind of going into this season, Arsenal are still ahead in terms of rotational depth and what they're able to do. I do, though, think it's still relatively open, just because you have some key players that are going to be out, having said all the stuff about rotational depth, i.e. Saliba was magnificent, right? And so that rotational depth is going to be tested over a more prolonged period of time, because he's going to be out for a little bit of more time than usual. Hopefully, Declan Rice is obviously, I don't know if he was in preseason today, but he exactly. So he's played tons of minutes. What's that going to look like? Obviously, Bruno's there to change things up, but Bruno, and Mitch will be able to say this as well, Bruno's a different player to Rice. I hear a lot of people saying he covers ground. Yeah, but not as good. He's not a ground. He's different. He doesn't cover ground in that type of way. He hasn't got that recovery pace. He's not as quick and as athletic as Rice. Yes, he's got that warrior spirit. It's more about what he does on the ball than off the ball, right? So it's a bit of a different type of influence, right? So that's going to be interesting to see. I think that I think you've got a couple of other kind of. I think it's again what Olu said about complacency, a bit of tiredness. And so to change that, me personally, and I end it on this. And I saw a quote from Arteta, and I know quotes are quotes. You need to, you need to actually read the full paragraph. So I'm gonna maybe he filled out the whole context, and he did say around transfers, it's difficult to. We are going to move in the market essentially, but it's difficult to find players that are going to move the margins for us. Yes, that is true. But again, going back to what Olu says, in terms of what Bruno does for the team, is you're going to have players that need to push the team. Alex Ferguson did the things that people didn't a lot of managers would be too scared to do, but should have done, which is he almost stripped. Whenever his teams won big, he would strip those teams and bring in a whole fresh batch of players. And that's what kept Man United winning 6-7 trophies in a row. And I almost think if you don't win, if you don't follow up, is it going to be that? Is it going to be that kind of thing where it's difficult? It's kind of the thing where they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Why would you sell all these other players when the team is already stacked? Well, maybe because they've already won stuff together. Maybe he needed to, really change up and have a little bit more change than he is. So there's always a risk in that. I think Bruno will shake things up in that midfield. He's not here. He definitely doesn't see himself as a rotational piece. Nope. So I know not in this lifetime. So that's going to be interesting. And I think he needs to do this. I think Arteta should have done at least the same thing in his attack, at least the same thing in his defense. I really believe that. Buy defenders or get players that would have really made players think like, geez, what's going to happen here? Because right now you've got the hierarchy, everything is set. I'm sure everybody expects Gabriel and Saliba to play. They expect Declan Rice to play. They expect, maybe so-and-so Saka to play. And that might still be enough into the second season, but then it might not. So I think Arsenal, and it goes back to what he was saying about that's how complacency set in. You guys remember, and I'm going on a bit, but you've just triggered something in me. When Man United, I can't remember if when Man United won the treble, I think Ferguson sold like nearly half that squad.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. He had a complete overhaul.
Yeah, and everybody thought he was insane. They went to dominate the next decade. So maybe it's a different game, a different era. I don't know. But if you're going to avoid complacency, there's only one way of doing. Well, I can't think of a different way of doing that than literally changing things up, changing your team, changing your squad. So
I agree. This is why like Kepa's got to leave. He's got to leave. No, I totally agree. Like, I think as football fans, we get too attached to players, right? Like,
oh yeah.
We want him. Like, we want him in our club. We want to say all the good things about. Like, actually, the MLS thing was an interesting view or interesting experiment in terms of how football fans think. In terms of like, once he was linked to Chelsea United, you saw the real sort of views of football fans about him, because you had a whole bunch of Chelsea United fans talking about how amazing he is and he's a really good young talent, etc., etc. And it was like prior to this, that would never happen, right? So I think there's a natural behavior as fans for us to just look at the players that play for our clubs and go, "Oh, they're amazing, they're good," like etc., etc. But sometimes actually, you'd hope the management team is more objective and they can look in and go, "You've been amazing for us. You've been a great servant. You've like it was even if it's someone like Gabriel, for example, you've been a warrior. You've now taken us to the promised land. But actually, when we look at you, are you now moving towards the position where the upside is not there anymore, and it's going to be a steady decline?" Like the one thing is that for the challenge for Arsenal is that the average age of the team is like 26.5, I think, somewhere around those lines. So they're like the rational thought is that, oh, you want to keep them so they go into their prime. But all of a sudden, 2 years goes and it's now the average age is 28, and then it's 29, and it's 30. All of a sudden, you got an older team, and it's yesteryear as opposed to them still being in the
Yep.
in the peaks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you kind of got to do it gradually.
Exactly. And to the point on Toon you made about someone like Declan Rice coming back, and the team. What's going to be? I think the thing that scares me when it comes to our fixtures is going to be the second game we've got, which is away at Villa Park.
Right.
Like,
Right.
obviously, like we know how I
Right.
feel about Emre, right? We know how
Villa are hungry.
And
Villa
they're-
have had they've forced their change. Morgan Rogers has gone. Manzambi.
Exactly.
Sorry, I interrupted you, but
No,
that's
no,
a team
no,
that's changed up. They're
Exactly.
hungry.
Exactly.
They've got a thing for Arsenal.
They're
gonna bring back that European trophy in that tunnel again.
They love to be at home, right? So like on one side, I'm like we've got enough players. Hopefully, someone like in the midfield to sort of be able to chop and change if Declan Rice is
Brilliant
back,
goal,
right?
Yep.
So like I would say, our first game is Coventry. I would expect the midfield without Declan Rice to be good enough against them, and then straight after Chelsea at home. I'm like, I kind of need. I want Declan. I want Declan Rice to play in the Charity Shield just to get minutes in his legs, and then do it again against Coventry and get some more minutes in his legs, and then play against like Villa, and then definitely play against Chelsea. And that is like alongside the complacency. That's the thing that also is like that can from the sort of feel good factor of we're the champions, the high. If you go and lose against Villa and then draw against Chelsea, just imagine the wind that just gets sucked out of the stadium and the fans. And sort of like, you guys are the champs and look at the way you started. Like, look at what happens when Liverpool decides to lose games. Like, I think that the mentality of losing games made it worse for them. Because I think each time they conceded a goal, it wasn't just a case of concede. Even when they played you guys, right? They luckily beat you guys. But you guys went down to 10 men. They conceded the first goal. And I knew they were going to concede. I just knew they were going to concede because there's something in there. Like, you're the champion. You walk in, chest out. And also someone's punched you in the face and it's like, wait a minute, this is not meant to happen. You know what I mean? This is not meant to happen.
Why did you hit me?
Yeah,
exactly.
That wasn't in the script.
Exactly. That wasn't in the script.
And that's what would worry me if like we go against like a Villa and Chelsea and don't get good results. Like we need to win those games for us to sort of lay the marker down and say, no, we are here to defend our titles and don't let complacency come in, or even don't let the doubts come in that, hey, was it a fluke?
Say that quote from Arteta is true, where what I get from him, and again, it's a sentence. There's a lot more context to these things. If he's looking at it as there's only few players that can push their margins, and really logically, if you're looking at it, we get it. It makes sense. Oh, yes, we've already got good. What he says is that we've already got a good squad. Literally, we've got and it's factually correct, like literally in every statistic. So therefore, to make it even go higher, there's only a few players in the world that can make it better. So logically, yes, it makes sense. And my worry is what I obviously explained before is, well, why are you, Arteta, not pushing yourself to change things up, to keep that competition, that hunger going? Why are you afraid to change things up and to push your team? Because like I was saying, hierarchy is hierarchy. When Lewis Skelly walks into that dressing room, he knows his pecking order. When Hincapié walks in there, when Mosquera, he knows the pecking order, right? The only one who doesn't know at the moment is Bruno Guimarães. and Zerbi's going to find out. He's going to run him over, right? So, and same thing. So that is established. And this is where there's a difference between a team that's he's going to find out that there's a difference between a team that's chasing the first Premier League and a team that's defending the Premier League. That's when we begin to talk about greatness. That's the difference between Ferguson, Guardiola, and all these guys. So that's where I worry, because like you said, once you do concede those goals or those things start creeping in, it's very hard to shake it off.
Yeah. That's
So
true. So I'll tell you what's something that I just thought about that's quite interesting, which might actually I've been a bit doing.
So what I wanted to ask you was
Go on.
just on that, what you're gonna say, do you think it's still the right approach that Arteta's taking, or would you want him to be a little bit more, you'd have liked him to be more, I don't know if the word is daring or risk, in terms of, like you mentioned Gabriel, maybe we should have shaken things up and moved on with Gabriel and put in this so and so defender. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like just see where things are at, like in terms of pushing that team forward.
Well, the saying goes, "Fortune favors the brave," right? So,
Right.
And so at one point you have to be brave. I think that. So it's interesting because so everything you said is true. Like, I think he believes, and you say rightfully so. He believes that it's marginal gains when it comes to like game players now. The jump that we had when we first finished 8th and we moved to 5th, the players that made that jump, it was easier to get those players than it is to now get players who make this team much better, right? It gets harder and harder each time, and that's what Ferguson and Mourinho and all those managers were able to navigate. That's what actually made them geniuses. It was less the fact that they won it the first time, it's the fact that they figured out how to make it better. So yeah, I think the thing that strikes out to me though is that I know that he believes in this idea of starters and closers as opposed to starters and subs. So some players will start a game and they'll buy into this idea of, even though you're not starting, you're still important to the team. The question is now is the ego part. I'm a champion. Why should I now buy into this idea that there's no starter, there's no closer, there's no set starter. Like, I feel like I should be a starter based on what I did last year. It's going to be down to how much they can control that ego more than anything else. Because if the team still buys into the idea of starters and closers, I think it's easier for him to manage that. Because you say this players are still quite good, I can still motivate them to say, no, you're not going to know each time who's going to start, who's going to finish, right? And someone like Bruno will have to understand and learn and buy into that. But that's easy to say.
Good luck.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's easier to say.
You're gonna have on the Kinder Buenos real quick.
It's easy for me to say. It's harder for him to implement because you're dealing with human beings with egos, who now believe that they're champions. So it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates it. I guess the best thing though is that this is the point I was gonna make. The best thing though is that they always say that when you're a champion, you go into a stadium, like it feels like they're trying to gun for you even more, right? The idea. The good thing for Arsenal is that everyone was gunning for us last year because everyone hated Arsenal and the fan base. You get random teams who say you go into a stadium, they sing second again. So Arsenal, like, it's almost a good thing that actually not being liked as Arsenal.
I don't think that translates onto the pitch as much. Maybe as fans, but I don't think it translates the same way on the pitch as walking in as champions.
For me, it did translate, but it translated in a way where I think that was fuel for your fire. Yeah. When they're daring you to lose again, and you're like, and they're saying going second or leg again, that just fueled them. That made you made whole commercials on that, right? Yep. You really much about that wave. You rid that wave of hate, but now you're champions, right? Now we know, and you're champions.
Yeah.
Now nothing we can say, but what's the motivation now?
Yeah.
Right. What's the motivation now? Because we're not going to give you the same. You're going to get the same banter anymore, right? And now they're going to treat you as champions.
Yeah.
We're going to respect you as champions, right? But not respect you in the way where, Villa aren't going to respect you like, oh, that's not going to happen. Yeah. Chelsea aren't going to. Now there's a target on your back, essentially. There's a target on your back.
But from a different angle. It's the players and the coaching staff and the teams on the pitch that have set the target, rather than the fans singing the songs, doing the bottle job thing, which, like you were saying, to maybe fueled Arsenal a little bit more towards the end of the season because they're like, no, not letting these guys win. But now there's going to be none of that. The fans are going to be quiet.
But you saw the players like actually reference all the things the fans were saying. Miles Lewis Skelly said they called us butlers, but now we hold the bottle, right?
Okay, we got you.
Gabriel mocked Haaland when they beat us, right? And Haaland said, "Oh, it feels good to be what's called like I've got
I got a good feeling. I got a good feeling."
When he lifted the trophy, he did the same thing as well. Like, so these players actually are petty.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Arsenal's a very petty team. But like you said, it's different now. Before you would have hunted. Before, those things could fuel you. I mean, okay, you might use the Champions League as motivation, right? But I don't think it translates as well. Now, you don't have those things anymore to fuel you. This is what I'm talking about, the complacency. It's like, now, do you just walk in and think, because we are champions, we just have a given right to win a game?
What Guardiola did was, you guys remember, he made this team inevitable. do you know what I mean? Like, he just made them frightening year on year. Like, it just felt like the game, we're almost talking about, can we not lose by more than 2 or 3-0? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the way it made you feel like. Despite Arsenal being champions, I don't think anybody, I don't know, I can only speak for myself. If I was Man United or Villa aren't scared about you coming to Villa Park. They're looking forward to you coming to Villa Park, right? And obviously, unless you turn them over 5-0, which I don't see happening, I don't think that this transfer window so far has made you in that team. Every man has got a different approach, right? But he just hasn't made you in. He hasn't. I don't think he's giving you that coat of inevitability about you. Like, he's almost just. It just feels like the target is bigger, and I don't know whether he's expecting just the same thing to work again. And I just don't see it. I think he has to be careful.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how that pans out for Arsenal, because I think the Bruno thing could be quite big. I think managing him well is going to be quite key, because he's gone from being big fish at Newcastle to basically being one of the main men in the Brazil squad at the World Cup, to potentially coming in and having to play a part. So I think that could be a big management job. But you mentioned Villa a little while back. We're going to go on to Villa. Super Cup tonight, PSG. Did any of you watch it?
No, what was the score?
2-1 PSG.
Oh, close.
Villa looked like they did well. They had chances. I want to talk about one guy in particular. I'm going to call him a kid because he's 17, but he's
not 17.
He's not 17.
Bro,
he's not 17.
Bro, that's what it says. It says he's 17, bro.
Yeah, okay.
But he's monster.
I went to a certain school in South London, and we knew when someone wasn't really our age, and we just kept moving.
He's 17. 2 kids that are 15, but he still says he's 17.
Listen,
so Brian Maggio is who we're talking about here, and it says he's born in 2009.
He's not.
And he is he's built like 25-year-old Lukaku.
He's not
with dreadlocks.
He's not 17. I'm sorry, he's not 17. I'm just saying, like, when I went to get my passport renewed and they asked me my age, I saw him next to me and I was like, oh, okay, you're fine as well. That's a grown ass man, okay? 15-year-old, okay? He didn't have no parents with him to help him go through. You know what I mean? There's no guardians, there's nothing. He was there by himself. He was able to oh my goodness! Where did they find these players, man?
Yeah, like how are we witnessing potentially the birth of a next superstar number 9? Because not just his pure size, the way he was playing tonight. He seemed quite calm and assured with some of his passing. He makes good runs. He gets in good positions. He's very strong as well. And he potentially could be someone who's just basically impossible to contain.
I don't know.
And he's coming to the Emirates real soon.
No, we're going to them.
Oh, no, you're going to Villa Park. Okay, even worse. Into the line instead.
Exactly. Actually, That was a good one because their badge is a lion. Lions Den. So he did there, Mitch. I see what he did there. He's a rapper, guys. He's a rapper. No, the thing, he's 17. Look at like the parallels with Lukaku are there. Like Lukaku was a sensation at 15 when he was like way taller, way bigger, and he was scoring a lot of goals. And he broke into Anderlecht really young, and then went to Chelsea and was it West Brom, and like he was scoring goals over and over again. The parallels with him and Maggio are there in terms of like sort of being a man in a in a boy's age, basically, right?
Yeah.
The thing though is or the fear for me would be it's happened very quickly. Like this is a big stage, playing against PSG, going in and essentially bullying the hell out of what people would have considered, top three defensive teams or defenders in world football or in club football, basically in Patra and
Yeah.
Aquinas, right? There's always a worry for me, young players and like spotlight too early because what we see now is a surprise to us, but can he keep that up for another 10 games? Also, he's still growing. As big as he is right now, he's still growing. His bones are not fully developed. His muscles are not fully developed. And like the worry would be that Villa, and again, I'm talking as an Arsenal fan, and we are guilty of playing Fabregas for too many games when he was young, and did the same with Saka, and we don't need too many players. My worry will be that he plays too many games too quickly. Like,
Yeah.
I think the run out against PSG was good. I'll be worried if they play them game after game in the Premier League.
I get that, but don't you feel that some players are special? You mentioned Fabregas there, you mentioned Saka. I'm going to throw in players like Owen and Rooney that they're just at a certain age that they're that good that you've got to make use of them while they're that good.
Yeah.
Because you could risk the fact of, he's 17 years old, but let's bed him in and let's bed him in and let's bed him in. And he misses them key fundamentals quite early and then he doesn't develop into what he could have developed into. You kind of have a little bit of that about him. So if he's good enough now, why not play him? Obviously, don't overplay him because his body's still young and it could break down. But play him as much as you possibly can if he's that good.
That is true. That's a fair point. And I guess to contradict myself is actually if players are going to get experience by you playing them and putting them in situations where they've got to deal with like the sort of the big stadiums, the bright lights, the grown men playing against them. The only way to get that experience is to play that. So in a way, I'm going to contradict myself there. Like, but at the same time, can he do it week after week? I mean, again, that game against Villa Park is going to be a test because one, he's going to have Gabriel, but he's going to have Mascara as well. And so if he absolutely bullies Mascara, can you just imagine what happens to his confidence, right? It's going to go sky high.
If that game comes round and this kid pulls onto Mascara for the game, you know that there's something special in him because he knows how to play the game.
Exactly. No, but what he did today, I mean, it wasn't. He missed a lot of chances as well.
Yeah. Could have had a hat trick.
He should have had a hat trick. But to do that, Super Cup, bright lights, it's impressive.
Yeah.
Hats off to the guy.
I thought it was very, considering that game today is about a third of all of the minutes he's had at top level football. He played like 5 games for Mets and didn't even get 200 minutes, and he played like 70, 80 today. So, yes, impressive stuff. And Villa looked ready. Villa looked ready to run into the season. And yeah, I can't say I've watched quite a lot of preseason friendlies over the last few days. And outside of them and Everton, who we played today, I don't think I've seen many teams that actually look ready to go now. So I don't know if anybody else has watched anybody that they throw into that mix that they've watched and thought, they look Prem ready already.
I think City as well.
I haven't actually watched City at all yet. First time I watch them will be
against us
at the weekend, yeah.
No, I
think at the weekend.
City as well. I think City have they haven't missed a step in terms of like losing Pep. Maybe I always believe this. I always believe that it takes a year and a half for managers' system to fully like embed in a team. So like when people say, "Oh, you bring in a new manager," like for example, when Spurs brought in Frank to replace Ange, or actually even when Ange came in to replace who was it? Mourinho beforehand. It was Mourinho, right?
When it Conte.
Conte, I
right?
think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So imagine having players who have played a certain way for 2 years. Actually, you could say 3 years under Mourinho as well. Like to get them to then switch to like 180 is difficult. So you might have it for a short period of time, the quote unquote manager bounds, but eventually it starts to regress to the mean. And if they're not like, if you're trying to get them to do something against what they've been doing for so long, it becomes difficult to change that, right? And that's why most managers want to clear out and get new players in because it's easier to train new players to your system than it is to try to train old players to learn a new system.
Yeah.
I said that to say with Man City, I think the Man City team is still playing like Pep's team with some nuances, and it's gonna be hard for them to change. I don't know if we're gonna know what Maresca's system truly is for about a year, but Pep's system is still so fucking good that I think they're prepared because it's just like muscle memory of these players. They've lost some players, they've brought some players in, but there's still a lot of muscle memory in terms of how to approach the game of football.
Yeah, how do people think they're going to do this year? Because like they've lost a couple of big names. Rodri looks like he's on his way out. I don't know if that's a done deal yet. Bernardo Silva's gone with 2 of their key players. That's 2 of probably what you would call of their 5 most important players in their side. So do you feel they've replaced them adequately and that they can have a proper go at the title again?
I'm just trying to find.
While Tuna's finding it, I think they'll have a go because I don't think you've got the quality of like a Haaland and even Doku as much as I'll diss him in terms of like he does the same move all the time, or Semenyo. I know they're losing Rodri. I'm not. Again, you guys know Anderson more better than I do because to be honest, I never really watched that many Nottingham Forest games. Nor did he stand out to me when he was at Newcastle. Someone that I thought like I should keep an eye on. So I don't know what he's going to be for Man City. So like I said that to say that they're still going to have a quality team, and if Anderson is as good as everyone says he is, then hopefully, or for them, they'll hopefully won't miss too much of a step. I do think though, now that you said it, and I wasn't thinking about it when I was talking about the sort of the muscle memory, the Rodri factor is going to be massive because we've seen what they are without Rodri.
Yep.
And it will be interesting to see how Maresca figures out a way to solve the problem that Pep couldn't solve when Rodri was out. Sorry.
Fair play.
I think that at the same time, though, obviously Maresca is fresh, he's new. So he's never had to have a Man City team with Rodri in it in the first place.
True.
So that in a way might help him. Anderson's there to, and I'm not saying he's as good as this player, but I'm just saying, I think that's what he's here for, is to take over Bernardo. And I think obviously why Didi will take a little bit of time to settle in. I'm not going to say he's a direct Rodri replacement, but he is there going to be to kind of help out with that. I'm just looking at their team. Their core players, like the players that played the most minutes last season, so that's like 3,500 minutes and up. Haaland, O'Reilly, Nunes, Donnarumma, and Bernardo. Obviously, Bernardo's missing from there. And that's where you expect Elliot Anderson to take over. Then you've got the core players that play between 2,000 to 3,500 minutes. That's Foden. Foden's a surprising one. Foden, Doku, Cherki, Reinders, who is going to Forest. That's a conversation to have. Yeah. Diaz, Nico Gonzalez, and Rodri. And Rodri played the least minutes out of all those guys there. So I think there's something to say because is he world class? Of course he is. Is he pulling up the same stats as he was a couple of years ago? He's not. So it could be a thing where they might be moving Rodri on at just the right time. And the fresher players, the younger players that are coming in, could make that difference. I know that Ian was saying earlier on, has Elliot Anderson ever played against and there's a lot of fans that make this kind of assumption about Elliot Anderson because he played for Forest. He's not played against low blocks. Newcastle played against a lot of low blocks. And I think there's a stats around it where I think Newcastle were in the top 4 teams playing against low blocks. Arsenal, Liverpool, Arsenal, who are just head and shoulders above everybody else in that. So there's a lot of experience in that. And he's very, 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 very good. So I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong in that regard. Is he going to do it within the time that's allotted to him, like hit the ground running? I don't know. It's difficult to know in terms of obviously what's going to happen. But I have a feeling that, because we were just talking about also Arsenal and now going from being the hunters to being the hunted, City are now the wounded lion type of thing. You know, they haven't been Premier League champions for now 2 seasons. They ran a close race. Pep Guardiola's gone. There's a lot of talk about them being finished, on the decline, yada, yada, yada. And all that kind of stuff really is going to be a motivator in itself. You know, I'm sure Doku and Semenyo are going to be hearing all the stuff about them not being as good as Riyad Mahrez, you know, the others, you know, all those kind of individual things. Also, they're going to have, you know, Vardy coming back. I think he's going to be a major guy to have back as well. So I think there's going to be a quiet confidence within City that they can do things again. And again, obviously, Mr. Haaland, he's the benchmark, isn't he? So, and I there's been times in that season where Haaland single-handedly dragged that team by the shirt over the line. So I think there's, and the thing is, obviously, I don't know if you saw recently, guys, Chelsea have given City a 5 p.m. Friday deadline for Enzo Fernandez. I believe Chelsea when they say that stuff like that, because Chelsea are top sellers, and I've never seen them get bullied by anybody for a player. So I believe the deadline. I believe that deadline, and it makes sense for them. And if City come up with the money, they now could have a midfield of Elliot Anderson, Enzo Fernandez, Nico Gonzalez, or, you know, Boaditi or whoever. So I would be. They're actually doing what I think Arsenal should have perhaps at least sort of considered doing, and made a lot more significant changes, more out of necessity, not as champions, but out of necessity to doing it. But now you've got a hungry bunch of players there, and they want to keep up traditions of winning league titles and showing people and proving to people that there is life after Pep. So I think people that discard City do at their own peril.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I just thought about it. Do you know how disgusting that is if they put by Boadi and also ends of.
It's crazy, isn't it?
They'll just spend. And I know spending money isn't always a determining factor of how good a player is, right? Because you can get good quality for less than the price. But they'll just spend, what, close to 300 mil?
It's going to be over, I think. It's going to be close to what the Saudis paid to buy Newcastle on their midfield free. Like, it's bonkers.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like, and actually, it's kind of, I mean, actually on that point, it's low key as well. Chelsea has spent almost 400 mil. This, you know, right? Almost 400 mil this summer. So like, and this is where when people talk about, I want to make it back to Arsenal. When people talk about how much Arteta spent to win a title, and he spent close to 1 billion to win a title, I'm like, you got guys who are spending half of that in a summer, right? That whole Arsenal had to spend X amount, this should just die, that conversation. But yeah, Man City would have spent close to 300 mil on a midfield, or over 300 mil. Chelsea spent like close to 400 mil on their team. It's insane. It's actually disgusting, and I think both of them should be relegated for that reason.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting times ahead. And Philip touched on the point that I was going to say. City are kind of doing what we was talking about for Arsenal, of slowly getting rid of the old guard and bringing players in. You've also got to factor in a fresh Ruben Diaz now that he's no longer with Maya Jama, so he's going to have a lot more energy as well. He's going to be a different man.
I've never liked Ruben Diaz. Honestly,
he always used to seem to be. Yeah, I was about to say.
Not even the Maya Jama thing. I don't know. I always just thought Laporte was a better defender than he was.
I always thought that Diaz was the commander that sort of pulled the whole back four together rather than being a better player.
Yeah, but I felt like I felt a minute mistake in game. I mean, they still won the treble and quadruple. So, well, not quadruple, the 4P. So, who am I to talk? No, actually, Laporte's playing in the treble. Then left for the 4P. I just always thought Laporte was a better defender than Diaz. And I think that the older he's getting, the more his deficiencies are now starting to show.
Yeah. Yeah, fair point. Once the legs go a little bit, you get exposed a little bit more. So maybe that's the case.
You know who's a good defender once to get slow. Because, like, for example, we had Tony Adams. He was slow as hell, but you're still a fantastic defender, right?
Yeah.
Then you got someone like Kyle Walker, is always the example I make, which is he was so quick that he got away with so much problems. And then he slowed down and you're like, he cannot defend to save his life. You take someone like Trippier, right? Never the fastest player, but actually his defending was actually underrated because as he got older, he didn't look as like last year. The version of Kyle Walker was disgusting, and Trippier, I don't think it's ever hit the heights of Kyle Walker, but it was never as bad as what happened to Kyle Walker.
Yeah,
but if you put Kyle Walker's pace into Kieran Trippier, he would have gone beyond where Kyle Walker went.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like he's a better footballer and he has a better footballing brain than Kyle Walker has, should I say?
Yeah.
Said that like he passed away.
Yeah. Don't kill the guy too.
Right, Toon, how you feeling?
Yeah, let's talk about Newcastle. Let's talk about your shout.
How you feeling?
I was gonna say, Mitch, kick it off, and then I'll put my 2 pence in.
I'm gonna sit back and just listen to the to this.
Well, okay, I feel the key thing about Newcastle this season is the realistic expectations that the fans need to put on what the team are going to do. Like, I'm excited for this season. And that's not me saying I'm excited for this season because we're challenging for the title, we're qualifying for the Champions League. I just feel like this refresh has kind of sort of half been needed. And I've said a few times, I'm pretty sure I've said it on Toon's show and I've said it on my show, that the pivot away from Bruno could potentially be a good thing. And this is long before there was news of Bruno leaving, because every time Bruno didn't play, we got no points. We didn't win games. We didn't really play that well ever. And there's two ways to get away from that. You change your manager, which is what I wasn't for at the time, or you get rid of the player. And my choice would have been potentially get rid of the player so you can build a different team that wins in a different way. And yeah, it seemed like we got to a point last season where Howe was clearly tired. He's decided to leave, and now it's a full reset. And we've brought in some very exciting young players. We still need 3 more minimum for me to go into the season to have a really good balanced squad. But when you look at the likes of Al Haji Bamba and Sean Sturr and Bazumana Toure, like those 3 are very exciting young players. And there's 1 18-year-old and 2 20-year-olds in there. If we can get a nice, solid holding midfielder that can sit in with the team, a fullback that can maybe cover both sides, and I would still like a technical right winger. But I feel like we're a few key components of making a little bit of a challenge for that back end of the European places. Whether we get there or not is a different story. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what some of these players can do, because every time I watch Sean Sturr and Toure so far, it's just like, yeah, these guys have got very high ceilings. There's a lot to come from. I don't think Bamba's really shown his full potential yet, but I like how calm and relaxed he is on the ball and how he keeps things moving. I'm interested to see, because I put out a post-game short. I'm interested to sort of get the views of the Newcastle fans of how they pick the midfield forward. Like how do you pick those 6 players? What's your best 6 from what we've got? Because I just can't piece it together fully at the minute, and that's the hardest thing that Jisler's got to do is try and figure out which is the best 6 to play this game. Because today I went into it thinking he's going to pick his best team. They're going to play 60 minutes. Then he's going to make a few tweaks and go from there. And the starting lineup kind of looked like that. But at halftime, he made 10 outfield changes. And it was like, oh, this was either an experiment in both halves, or he's been running these guys ragged and he doesn't want to overdo anybody's legs in this game. And like, yeah, we got beat and Newcastle fans are going a bit mad on X and Instagram and all of that. But when someone makes 10 changes at halftime, you've got to understand we weren't going to that game to win. There was other reasons behind it. If we won, it would have been fun, but that wasn't the main goal of what we did today against Everton.
Yeah, I probably see a lot of what Mitch is saying in terms of excitement. I'm nervous and excited at the same time. I think going back a little bit is why Newcastle are having this reset in the first place is, in my mind, isn't necessarily just because of a bad season. Newcastle, because everything we had to, with the way that the team and everything the club was built, I did a show about it recently. It's almost like the cart went before the horse. So our on-the-field performances were outstripping what we were able to do off the field, which is building up revenue, training ground, stadium, and everything else. So we invested too fast and too quick into, and we have no regrets about it. We won a trophy, went to Champions League a couple of times, but it wasn't sustainable. We invested heavily into first-team players, and we done really, really well in our recruitment. It was really, really good, but it was fine margins. And if we got a transfer or 2 wrong, we go back into the dark ages because of PSR, which is exactly what happened. In fact, we still paid the price for it going into this season, right? So now the owners wanted to reset. And, David Hopkinson, our CEO himself, calls it Newcastle 2.0. That's his words, meaning that they've reset not only what's on the field, and in order to reset what's on the field, they've had to sell 3-4 star players in order to reset the team from a financial perspective. And now they've brought in very young players. Like literally, we haven't bought a player that's over 20 years old at the moment. And
Hornicek's over 20, isn't he?
Oh, okay, 23. Sorry, he's the last one. It's 23. My apology. So very, very, very young. And I think the idea behind that is now we're going to have a squad of players that can grow with the club as the revenues and everything grows and develops. And so, there's 2 things with that though, right? One is the stadium, the training grounds. Now people will need to start seeing, in my view, within the next 6 to 18 months, at least, or 6 months to a year, bricks and mortar, actual training ground. We've got the land when people actually need it in order to believe it, and an actual decision made. Well, I think the decision has been made in terms of a new stadium or not, and to start seeing those bricks and mortar. So that's off the field. They are making changes to getting sponsorship. Now, on the field, though, and that goes into what Mitch was saying about 3 to 4 players, I was more excited and nervous, not because of until the post-match today. So not necessarily the game itself. So I take preseason how you guys take preseason. It's cardio, it's getting your jaws and everything else. But I'm reading some quotes from Jisler, and he's went out and said, you guys could. He literally has got quotes from him again. Quotes of quotes. I need to read. You have to go and see what the full context of what someone's saying. But somebody's quote is literally saying, you can see we need players. Now, when the coach is saying that, what he's telling me is he's had a good look at this team. He doesn't need any more training sessions to tell himself, whether the team has enough or not. So that's the manager himself. So that's on my own. It's one thing, me or Mitch or whoever, who's saying, yes, the team is exciting, but if the manager is saying, hey, we need some players, Just like that, we need the training ground start seeing bricks and mortar. We need to start seeing some players in the next 2-3 weeks, and to pull this Newcastle 2.0 over. So that's where my mind is kind of focused. I like Yasser's approach. I think the idea of what the owners have done and what the CEO has done is a smart idea. So, for instance, we were talking, for instance, about Man United and Tottenham. You know, they went from Conte to Ange, totally different philosophies that mess up the team, mess up the squads. Newcastle evolved. So, just like Yasser and Howe have a lot of similarities. They're both high pressing, high lines, but obviously Yasser's got some. He's got a slightly different approach and principles. He's not so stuck on a formation. He's got things that he does, which is right, which is his way. He plays very, very narrow, keeps the players together, so we're aiming to play centrally. Okay, that's fine. He needs players to make that count, right? And he needs he had Ivan Toney when he was playing in Saudi. He needs a target man, or needs someone in the mode of an Ivan Toney or João Pedro, more like someone to get him to make the ball stick. I think Yasser's worked out very, very sharpish. That Voldemort is not that guy. He needs a number 10 or a form of a number 10 who's either creative on the ball, a ball carrying, or when passing. He needs an experienced mixed midfielder, which he tried to get with Højbjerg. Right, so I say all that to say this is I understand the idea and the theory behind Newcastle 2.0. I support it in terms of on the field and off the field, but I think this is the difference between, and I hate to say it, but it's going to make me kind of make the description different. This is a difference between a positive fan and a toxic positive fan. I'm not going to. If they don't deliver on these players on the field, I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, this is going to be a great year, guys." When the manager himself is saying, "We need players," so I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and say, how many 2, 3, 4 years down the line, and we still haven't put bricks to mortar for a training ground or for a stadium and say it's going to come, guys. I'm not going to do that. So I fully support the idea. I understand the theory. I understand why we made the change, why the reset. We're taking a lot of stick for it, right? We're getting stripped. We're getting raided. Absolutely is what everyone is saying. Fine. I'll take it. But we need to start seeing some action, and at the moment the action is obviously in the transfer window, and I think that's the first place that I'm only saying this, and again, hopefully once I maybe hear more the interview fully of what Yasser's saying, I might be a little bit more, what's the word I'm thinking of, more gracious and generous. I don't know, that's not even the word. Maybe have a little bit more context around what I'm saying. But when the manager, I'm just kind of going off of what he's saying. The manager, he's saying you can see what we need. You can see we need players. That's what the manager's directly saying. So I'm not going to fool myself in this regard and say, yeah, everything is fine. And that's not off the game itself. I took the game as pre-season. I see his principles. I see what he's trying to do, but he does need certain players to pull this off, to play the way he wants to play. So, that's where I'm at with it.
I've got a bone to pick with you, though.
With me personally?
Both of you.
Yep.
I asked for my scouting report, and I never got my scouting report.
For who?
For number 39.
Well, Ollie, with the greatest respect, fuck your scouting report.
No.
You could do that stuff on the training ground. No, but just to sort of follow up on what Toom was saying about bricks to mortar and stuff like that. These next 2 or 3 years are going to be key to the club's progression overall, because this reset hasn't come from missing the Champions League for one season or missing Europe from one season. It's come from not building the commercial growth over the last 3 or 4 years. Because the likes of Bruno probably would have gone because he wanted to go and try and win trophies, try and win the biggest trophies possible. He still might have gone. So may have Gordon because he's gone to Barcelona. But Tonali's and getting turned down by Manzambis and stuff like that potentially doesn't happen if we can offer players relative wages to what they're now getting where they are. Because at the minute, we're very much hamstrung to a point of our maximum will still be in and around 160, 170, 180 a week, whereas Tonali's gone to get 275. Manzambi's gone to get more than that. And that's why some of these players are going to leave. So what we need to do over the next 2 or 3 years is build to a point with your Bambas, your Sean Sturs, and these players that are early 20s, that if we have a successful 2 or 3 years and they go, I feel like I deserve £220,000, and you can justify it and you can pay it, we then don't have to have another reset. So that's the key thing we now need to do. And we don't think we've done that very well over the last few years at all, to be honest. And yes, we've been restricted by certain related parties and stuff like that, but we still need to build it overall at the same time.
Yeah,
I think I'll just add to, I'll say I'll push back a little bit. So I think our revenue has grown exponentially. We started off at like a 170, 180, like below Leicester City. We're getting less revenue than that. In that 5 years, we've gone to 350 million, right? That's really, really good. That doesn't happen, right? It's still below 3 times lower than what Arsenal and everybody else is doing. But that's different, right? But what made it worse is that we were building a first team whose expenses outstripped our revenue, and we were on fine margins. What hurt us as well was the things that happened off the field with some of our owners and some of our sporting directors either leaving 24 hours before transfer windows opened or getting tapped up by rival clubs whilst they've got access to our scouting networks, right? So it's all margins. But I think those are fine margins that could have been absorbed if we stepped back a little bit and built the squad we're building now 5 years ago. We probably wouldn't have been in Champions League, probably wouldn't have won a trophy, but we would have built a team towards where we can say we're achieving sustainable growth. So I don't necessarily regret the last 5 years. We've won a trophy, done all these things, but I'm more like, okay, we're doing this reset now. Well, we're doing it this way. It's sustainable. But to maintain, to deliver on that, you need to get the players that the manager needs, and they're that whole thing about that training ground and everything else. I know that they're going to do it, but you have to show the players. Like someone like Bruno, he was told at the beginning, 5 years. He's been at the club 5 years. He was told at the beginning, "Hey, we're building a new training ground. You could be the guy that's going to be leading us to the new stadium." Yeah. It's fair for Bruno to say, "Where's the where's
challenge?" Yeah,
right. So we can't do the same thing for the next group of players and stuff like that. Doing that, and we have to do it for the fans and everything else. I believe they're going to do it, but they have to execute. They have to do it.
Do you think that because a couple of things? It's interesting. There's a parallel with Arsenal that you're talking about, which I'm like, actually, it's not exactly the same but different, right? As the saying goes, in the sense that when Arteta first came, like we went for like established players because we had to steady the ship, right? You guys went for established players, and then the reset happened after 2 years for us, where Arteta said, "Actually, I'm going to build a young team and they're going to grow together, and hopefully, rather than having to just try plugging and play players, it was get this young team, grow them together, and then when they get established, you then bring in players to improve the quality on a marginal gains level." To my point originally, do you feel like there was a gamble which the Newcastle board went with at the start, thinking that actually, if we chuck everything at once and we get sustainability in terms of just being in the Champions League over and over again, then we can sort of fast track that process? And then now it's come to a case where if I had to take a step back and go, actually, that doesn't work, especially in the Premier League as it is right now, with the rules that exist. And we have to then take a different approach, which is, like you said, invest very young, but also as well build the infrastructure to ensure that actually they get to a point where you're then able to compete with the I was gonna say the big boys, but yeah, the big boys for lack of a term. And because also the thing that always, because you're talking about the revenues, and the thing that always gets to me is when I think of it is Newcastle are technically a one city team. Like there's no big team as well.
I'm going to up that. We're a one region team.
Right. Even though Weir side is this side.
No, fuck that. We're a one region team, man.
Weir side is the best side, but no. But I'm saying it's like it's always struggled to me because in my mind I always thought that one city teams would have the bulk of the revenues, which means that actually it should be easier to generate revenues. But actually, when you look at it, that's not the case. Where the big revenues tend to be in London and Manchester, and even Liverpool, where they've got two teams which are pretty big as well. I know there's historical success as well that builds into that as well. But I'd have thought that there would be, I don't want to say equalizer, but a bit of an equalizer in the sense that all the sort of view, if you're born in Newcastle, you're going to support Newcastle.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So like there should always be like a revenue that just exists within that. I don't know why or how, or if the impossibility. I don't know if it's to do with how much Newcastle. The team and the city. I've been to Newcastle before. They're very passionate about the club. So like it's not a case of like they wouldn't spend, because when you guys went down to the championship, like you were still packing out St. James's Park.
Yeah.
So like that's why it's always baffled me in terms of like all the ingredients are there for Newcastle to maximize.
It is, yeah,
potential, but it just feels like it's just never happened.
I think there's two things that have kind of accounted for that. Is that 14 years we had Mike Ashley, or however long it was we had Mike Ashley, and he neglected the commercial side of the club the whole time he was here. So we missed that whole period of growth, while other teams, like the Premier League, changed in that time, and the money started going through the roof, and we got left way behind, which sort of accounts for a big chunk of the commercial growth that Toon was talking about when we spoke about it a little while ago. So that's kind of one side of it. And the other side of it, the match day revenue now has changed. So the way Tottenham have done things is they've lowered the amount of season tickets, and they've built up their fan base in places like South Korea, where Heung Min Song was from. And then these people come over to watch 1-2 games back to back and spend £200 in the club shop on the day. Whereas if season ticket holders aren't going to spend £200 at the club every single week, they're going to come, they're going to watch the game, they're going to have one beer, they're going to go home. So they've now made it a sustainable thing of getting these once a season newcomers coming in that spend a big chunk of money while they're at the stadium that ups their revenue. So the match day revenue thing has changed ever so slightly over the last few years as well.
Yeah, and I think go on.
No, I was just going to say that's interesting.
Yeah, to you'll remember, because we're all old enough. Before Mike actually took over Newcastle, we were like a top 6, top 5 in terms of revenue. He took us so. Not only did I've neglected is putting it mildly.
Yeah,
he purposely stripped our assets to the point where newly promoted Leicester City had a higher revenue than us, had a better training ground than us. We had players still doing ice baths and wheelie bins. We only just now in 2026, 2025 got a hydration pool. And some people will say these are millionaire problems, but if you're competing against other clubs and you're selling yourself to other players, and you've got players dipping in ice baths and wheelie bins, you're not gonna win anything. So that's a financial thing, but it's also a cultural thing. Like when I was doing my from a rivals lens, there's a shameless plug there for Arsenal, but for us and Tottenham, I'll say for Arsenal, is they get a lot of stick for the amount of kits they got, but behind every kit, and even how you guys put the design together, the guy that does the design for it and everything else is incredible. And you sell the story of your club and your branding amazingly well. No one now you're known as the culture club. No one can take that from you. They can hate all they like, But that's what, when you talk about growing revenue and stuff like that, that's what you do. And I feel like at the moment, and this is from the culture point of view, the owners haven't got a team, or I don't know if you call them artists, designers, whatever, to sell the story of Newcastle. And I think I do more to sell the story of Newcastle now through my thumbnails, in my opinion. I just honestly, because I get people always asking me, why don't you put your thumbnails on a hat, on a shirt? And I'm thinking, well, why me? Like, I just do it my own, like on the back, just my own free time. Like, why am I seeing some of the football? I don't even know why football kit is pink at the moment. What's the story behind that? What's that got to do with?
I know the story behind that.
I'll get into it, but like, there's a lot more to sell. I think it was so much better before in terms of everything that Newcastle were doing to sell the story of Newcastle United, and I think they're fumbling on that one. Tottenham, they get stick for all their concerts and stuff like that, and they even sold paintings. Ash Mack told me this. They sold paintings to fund this transfer. Newcastle owners, we need to sell some stuff. Come on, like, we've got some assets, right? We need to go. So, like, why are we not chucking everything at it to be able to be competitive in different? We are.
But this is kind of the problem, though, because as much as because Ashley, like you said, Ashley stripped all the assets. So when Ashley took over, Newcastle as a club,
I was thinking of Ash Mack for a minute. I was like,
when Mike Ashley took over, the area around the stadium was owned by Newcastle Football Club. The new owners have come in and have had to repurchase all of those bits around the stadium again, so that they can put up stuff like the stack and they can build where Strawberry is and all the stuff like that. Like, it was gone. We didn't have it when they took over. So they just bought a football club and a stadium. They didn't have the infrastructure around it to start building all this stuff and growing. So I don't think they realized how big of a task it was when they bought it, because it was literally just the players, the training ground, and the stadium.
Yeah. I'll tell you what you guys need to do. Bring back the Newcastle Brown Ale. We could start with that and then tell the story after that.
I tell you what, I don't think it'll be long before there's merch with Newcastle Brown Ale on the front again.
Hey, that was an iconic kit, man. That was an iconic kit and sponsor. It's a bit like Austin JVC.
Those were the days when, like, God bless rest his soul, Kevin Keegan. We was doing adverts for what's that one with the tiger? They're great. Like,
Frosties.
Frosties. Like, we were out there, like, doing commercials and that. Jeez. Yep. So we need to get on there.
That's what I mean about the ingredients. Were always, like, I remember growing up young. I always remember, like, I had a. You guys would not believe this. I had an affinity for Newcastle when I was younger. Like, I really did. I really had an affinity for Newcastle when I was younger. Like, obviously, I support Arsenal, but I really, really liked Newcastle. And I mean, obviously, back then as well, like, Arsenal, because we were really good, we didn't lose many games against Newcastle, so it was easier to stomach at that time, right? But I kind of say that to say, though, like, they always felt like there was a story behind the Geordies and and, like, everything you said about Arsenal, I would expect, I don't want to say exploit, but for lack of a better term, that I never thought about Mike Ashley, Mitch, and the Mike Ashley thing makes so much sense what you brought up in terms of how much destruction he did to Newcastle. And to be honest, he did a destruction, which is weird because he was meant to come and save Newcastle. he did the opposite, right? But, like, there's just so much rich history that, and, like, Newcastle they were a team that they were there in front of everyone's eyes as well. They weren't just like a background team in the 90s. They were like, you thought of Premier League, you thought of Arsenal, you thought United, but Newcastle were always there as well with, Liverpool's. And that's where it was like, that's why it baffled me why a team which had that history plus the mad support of the Geordies, and I always say, like, St. James's Park is the hardest, like, ground to play in next to Liverpool, because once the fans are behind them, like, it feels like there's a vortex that just sucks the ball into a goal. And just not being able to exploit that and being in the position that you guys are in right now has always felt so weird. But I never thought about the Mike Ashley destruction that he did. And that, was it 12 years, wherever he was, that he owned
14.
Like, yeah, that he did a number, you guys, because you're saying
2 relegations.
But even more than just that, like you saying that he sold all these assets that you guys had,
Yeah.
and like it was like the club being part of the DNA of the surrounding area being lost. Like I can imagine now how fans fell out of love with let's not say Newcastle the club, but Newcastle. Sorry, not Newcastle the entity, but Newcastle the club. When everything's been stripped away.
Do you know how bad it got? Yeah, this is how annoyed I was getting with what was happening. Is I used to be like back in the day. Does anyone remember going to Sports Direct and you could get like football shirts for like £10? I used to run them all the time. I've got like AEK Athens shirts and all kinds of stuff up in my loft. Yeah, I haven't shopped in Sports Direct for probably about 15 years because of this guy. Because like the stuff he was doing then, we're not now allowed to do as a club. Like Sports Direct was the stadium name. It was the sponsor. It was everywhere. But he wasn't. We wasn't getting paid.
Exactly.
Sports Direct were not paying Newcastle for that. It was just free advertising.
He got it for free. It was good for free.
So now we want to, which is mad. And now we want to. Now our owners want to sponsor the club. So our third shirt is now a shade of pink.
Yeah.
Because the sponsor was meant to be Riyadh Air, and Riyadh Air is color is the shade of pink of the shirt. So the logo would have looked fantastic on the front.
Know that.
But that got blocked. So we ended up with Knox. And now everybody's going, why have we got a pink shirt? But if you type in Riyadh Air, you will see exactly why it's that color. And that's got blocked by the league. So the things that he was doing by sponsoring the club, we're not now allowed to do.
He wasn't sponsoring the club though.
Well, he wasn't. He was just advertising Sports Direct.
I mean, he put a fucking Sports Direct logo on the again, going back to the
Sports Direct arena, bro.
Exactly.
It took St. James's Park off. Yeah.
Like,
it took St. James's Park.
Like for us with Emirates, like the Emirates Stadium was Ashburton Grove. Like we had no affinity to Ashburton Grove at the time. We had Highbury. If we had changed Highbury to the Emirates Arena, I think Arsenal fans would have felt a certain way about it. But having a new stadium, the first day we walked in, it was called the Emirates. It was like, okay, well, we just know it as the Emirates, right? Even now, it's just in the lexicon as Emirates. We know St. James's Park is St. James's Park. So to change it to not even like a sponsorship that brought in money.
Like
swallow it in. To change it to his company and call it the Sports Direct Arena, then have the massive logo on top of the roof so that every time Sky Sports did the overhead shots, you saw the Sports Direct on it. he did a number.
Do you know how bad it was? Olu, he was a madman. So Sky Sports started filming from a different angle after he did that because they didn't like the logo at one point. And he just put more logos inside the stadium. So you couldn't look from any angle and not see Sports Direct. It was impossible.
Oh my goodness, what a man.
It's just bonkers. The stuff that he did, it set us back so far. And now the new owners are having to untangle it all. But hey, it is what it is, isn't it? You build, you grow, and we've got to make it work. If we want to be a part of the big boys, we've got to make it work.
I hear that, and that's why I'm like, I think it's exciting to go down this route of getting those younger players where you can build, you can grow, and there's going to be two teething problems, no doubt, right? Like you're not going to bring young players who to the Premier League are not expecting teething problems, but you can't keep doing the same thing expecting different results.
True.
And, don't get me wrong, obviously you guys did fantastically in terms of getting the Champions League spot, winning a trophy, but that team's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone. Up until the beginning of last season, or the beginning of last summer, should I say, you could have sat there and said, since the takeover, Newcastle have been perfect. It could not have been done any better than it had been done. But then we had a few little mistakes that sort of derailed it a little bit, and now we're at the point we're at. And it was never going to be linear. It was never going to be upward trajectory the whole time. It was always going to have to take a few backward steps or sideways steps, and here we are. So as long as the owners are still in it and they want to go again, let's do it. Let's run it. Go again.
Yeah.
Some late night therapy session.
Yeah.
And it's actually me not calling you guys thugs and ribbing you guys. And
well, you can't because you've You've taken the mob leader, bruv. How can you call us thugs?
That is true. Also, I revealed my secret. I revealed my secret about my affinity for you guys. So you know.
Yeah, no, you're never getting away from that. And
those days, a lot of people would say that Newcastle was their second favorite team, whether they're Chelsea fans, Man United fans, whoever. Well, not Man United, but Man United really
hated us,
actually. But they hated us, man. Jeez Louise.
But most football fans in and around our age will say the similar thing.
Because also Newcastle, I hate to say it, but you guys had some very iconic, like Premiership players. Like
Like,
when you think of some of the players that played in the Premiership, the Barclays, as everyone likes to say.
Yeah.
Like Newcastle have,
and even the Carlin.
Exactly. When I think of the Ford Super Sunday, I think Newcastle like teams are also etched in that memory of
yeah. But that's it. Why outside fans always kind of had us as a second team. That's why we love Newcastle, because we've always been that basket case, and we're just it's just been different brands of basket case for different reasons. It's still there. That's why we enjoy it so much, because no matter what version of us you look at, it's always been mad. It's always been a crazy ride.
Yeah, but now you're just thugs, but not anymore.
We're not. We're the young team now. And the young man comes.
A young team now. G's.
Watch out for the young G's. Don't worry about that. Right, boys. It's been another great show. Thank you for everybody in the chat that's been watching. Like, share, subscribe, do all of that. I believe Ash is back next week. Thanks for sticking by us while Ash isn't here. But has anybody got anything to plug before we shoot?
Yeah, I'm doing a show today. Today's Thursday. I'm going to do a show today's Thursday.
The same time every week, okay?
It's literally. I didn't expect this therapy session, so I'm like I'm
equilibrium's off.
Like find my bear. My equilibrium's off. I'm like, I got a show. After all that, I'm like, no. Got a show tonight. I don't even know what I'm going to do but I'm going to do a show tonight around 8 or 9. So join me. Been really good recent turnout with folks and everybody else. So big up Olu, big up Mitch for always coming through, doing your thing with the chat. So God bless you guys for that. So guys, join me on tonight on Toon Tactics TV.
Check that out. Toon Show's always good. Even if you're not a Newcastle fan, there's a good through the rivals lens and stuff like that. He does bits on other teams as well. So definitely check that out. Olu, anything to plug?
Nah, just me being a menace. That's all.
Cool. Fair play. And myself, my channel is Where the Owls Sleep. I will be doing shorts for all of Newcastle's preseason friendlies, pre-games, post-games. They'll be going on X, Instagram, all of that. So check them out. Other than that, on a personal viewpoint, it's ran quite smooth. Thank you for the people that have been in the chat. I was actually very nervous when Ash asked me to do this, because this goes out to a different level of people of my show.
You're a natural.
Yeah, so like I said, thank you for sticking by. And
big up, Mitch. Big up, Mitch.
Also, people, don't look at the sun when there's an eclipse, man.
Let's find the highest point on Earth we can and stare at the eclipse. Let's do that. Oh, madness. But next week, people, be back here.
Peace.